Welcome to What to Look Out for in Publishing. I'm Kyra Schaefer. I'm going to talk to you today about publishing company warning signs. Based on my experience as a publisher for the last couple of years, I have seen so many things happen within the self-publishing services industry, and it's important that I pass this information along. I am so frustrated. To be perfectly honest with you, that is what is birthing this video right now, because I talk to authors all the time, every day, and get insight on where they're at in the looking for a publisher process. And so often, this is why it's so frustrating. So often do people come to me and they have this grandiose idea about what publishing is, and they don't really know and they don't really understand. And in some cases, they'll go with a company that sells them all these bells and whistles that amount to nothing. And they can spend tens of thousands of dollars. So even when I have told people, do not do that, they often do it anyway. And it happened again. I recently had someone come to me and say, I wish I would have gone with your company because this is what happened. I ended up paying double for less than what you give us. And I was like, I know. And the thing is that I told this person exactly what to look out for, and they didn't listen. I want you to listen, please. This is one of the most important things I think I am supposed to do in this world is to educate on what to look out for when it comes to publishing. So here are some major warning signs that we're going to go through today. It's going to be relatively fast. Hopefully I'll move through this information quickly and you'll get what you need right away. So first, what is a vanity press and how to know if your publishing company is a vanity press? Discerning the difference between a self-publishing services company and a traditional publisher. How much should self-publishing your book cost with a services company? Sun, Moon, and Stars self-publishing services company that sell you on the dream of publishing. So let's just move right into it. What's a vanity press and how to know if your publishing company is a vanity press? So the first thing is, why do these people frustrate me? And they're just companies, and many of them have a lot of longevity. It's just understanding that a press is not a publisher, even though they might say they're a publishing company. So this means basically they just print your book and they might offer some marketing help, but they will charge you an astronomical amount of money to do it. I hate vanity presses for a number of reasons. And here's some of them. They don't pay the author their proper royalty. They charge astronomical prices for print copies. They charge massive prices to publish your book. So you could spend $7 to $10 to $12 to $50 to $70,000 to get your book published. And that doesn't even include necessarily getting it marketed, getting it into a real world situation where people will want to buy it. Okay, so they make it seem like they're doing you a favor. It's we have so many books that we're publishing, and let's see if there's market. They just feign this thing, and it's so frustrating. But anyway, they give unrealistic outcomes for your book to upsell you on things that deliver zero return on investment. So that can be like marketing packages where you do not get to bestseller on Amazon or any best-selling situation whatsoever. They could sell you on, now let's create your website, and then they charge you $3,000 or $4,000 for that. And so they just do these upselling things. You need to know exactly really what you need before you move into some of these things, but we'll get into that in a minute. They'll charge you a lot to publish your book, usually $10,000 or more. And that won't necessarily be the initial charge. So essentially they could say, oh, well, we'll publish your book for $2,000 or $700 or something like that. And then they'll upsell you on all the things that you have to have, like interior formatting, book cover design. They could charge you extra for copy editing. They could charge you extra for different marketing elements that you feel or you think you might need that, again, like I said before, don't give you any ROI. They promise big returns on your book to help you substantiate, to help them substantiate their high charge and royalty cut. So many times these vanity presses, not only did you pay them to get your book published, but they're taking a massive chunk out of your royalties because they're just cutting you a check. So please, please, please read that fine print. You should be getting 100% royalties off of your book. You're the author. You're the one who created it. Yes, they they maybe formatted it. They maybe copy edited it, but ultimately it's your book, and you should get the lion's share of that cut. Most of the time, it's about $1 a book for these, and so it's important to keep that in mind. You should be getting more than that. The promise to market your book, but not promise things like bestseller on Amazon. As I said, you may have to ask for the Kindle version. So this is the other trick they do. They'll do a Kindle version or they'll do a paperback version, but they may not do both. So you have to find out, do you get both of those things with your book package? You should be getting both. If you're in the thousands of dollars, you should be getting both the Kindle version and the paperback version. Otherwise, they're going to upsell you on one of those. They make you buy a minimum of number of books, which they make a cut of. So they can make you buy a certain number of books, and those certain number of books, it could be a minimum amount. It could be 10 books. It could be 100 books. Usually it's about 100 to 300 copies that you have to buy. And they're going to charge you a pretty high wholesale cost when it doesn't have to be that way. So again, it's because they're sending you books or they're ordering books. And so they're taking a chunk out of each book sold. All right. You have heard horror. So this is another thing. You may have heard horror stories about publishing, and this is where they come from. They come from these vanity presses that put themselves out there like publishing houses. They're usually faceless. Many times you wouldn't hear from the CEO, you wouldn't hear from the director. There's generally no contact with those people. Now, as helpful as that can actually be at times, from a business owner standpoint, having a faceless organization is not something that I generally prefer, just because I want to know who I'm working with personally. So they may not have Google reviews, or they may have negative Google reviews online. So keep that in mind as well. And also you can go into Amazon and put in that publisher's name, whatever that publishing company's name is that you're researching, and please research. And then look at some of the book cover designs. See how they're rating. See how the reviews are. Do they have a lot of reviews for the books that they're publishing? Are they kind of drab? Is it not really the kind of style you like? Don't just take it at face value just because they have a nice website, or they seem to have been in business for 20 or 30 years. And I said seem to have been in business for 20 or 30 years. Okay. They do not include everything in your initial quote. Okay, so for ours, we have a base fee, and we're currently not doing copy editing and book launches, and we're doing email support only. But I don't try to upsell you on getting a copy editing package and getting a marketing package. We're just not offering those things. And so I have resources I can direct you to. But with these guys, they'll go, oh, it's $700 to publish your book. But really, it's not. It's thousands of dollars. And once they get you in the door, they're going to keep on upselling you, because you may not have any of those resources that you need to turn to or know where to turn to in order to get an even better deal. So that's something to keep in mind. Let's see. You don't have access to your account. This one is big. You have to do everything through them, which comes with a fee that is often hidden. So these guys know how to work this. And I could probably put together a list of the ones that I know off the top of my head, but there are so many out there that all you have to do is put in self-publish or publish my book and you will get a list of primarily vanity publishers, primarily. Not all of them. They're not all bad, but definitely do your research and and see what they're like, and don't just take the first one off the top. Just do that research extra because it's so important. These guys put themselves out there falsely. And that's the part that I want to encourage you to take a look at and to check out. All right. So here, let's talk about the difference between a self-publishing services company and a traditional publisher. Self-publishing and vanity presses are not necessarily the same. Vanity presses may offer services like copy editing, formatting, book cover design, and that kind of thing, but they're putting themselves out in a skewed way. Vanity presses are. Self-publishing services are saying exactly what they are, which is what As You Wish Publishing is. We're just a self-publishing services company. However, you do get our name to help legitimize your book, as well as instead of just being self-published or independent published, with no company name attached to it. And it really makes a difference in the long run in many ways. So an SPS can help you get your book completed, keep everything in your name, but give you the credibility of a publishing brand. That being said, a SPS isn't a traditional publisher either. So here are the differences. All right, SPS, you get 100% royalty. That's after the print costs of the book that are being sold. So usually it's a 60-40 split on Kindle Direct Publishing, 60% to the author. And in Kindle books are 70% to the author, 30% to KDP. Again, if I'm doing it the Vanity Press way, then another out of your cut of 60%, I might take 30 of that 60% and you get 30%. But it looks like it's all in one thing, but it doesn't have to be. So keep that in mind. You should be getting at least 60% of the royalty. And the only reason why KDP gets that 40% cut is because they're marketing it. They've got it on their line. They've got it on there. They've got it through their system. They're printing the book. They're shipping the book. They're taking care of everything. So there's that. But when you buy books retail or wholesale and then sell them retail, that's when you get the most money. Okay, so that's why KDP has the lowest print cost. And that's, again, not like a vanity press. A vanity press can charge you an astronomical amount for your print books, $9, $10 a copy, and your book is selling for maybe 14, 15, 13, 14, 15. So you're only getting a few bucks out of each book sale. Well, when you do it with somebody like a self-publishing services provider like As You Wish, your print cost can be as low as $3.50. So then you're getting $10 a book. And that can make a major difference, selling 30 copies and making $300 versus selling 30 copies and making $30. Right? I don't know if I did that math right. But so all right, you pay for the production on your own. So you pay for that copy editing, you pay for the package, whatever it might be, with the formatting and book cover design and so on. You are going to be the one that markets your book. You're going to be the one that beats the streets, calls people, does book signing setups, does book events, that kind of thing, and potentially be doing press releases, stuff like that. And I know you can say, oh, well, I don't know how to do that, but there's lots of people out there that can do it for an affordable rate, and you can get your name out there really, really easily. You have control. You have control over your book with the self-publishing services company. So you get to decide what it is that you want to, accomplish. And you also have control over if you want to use your content in different areas or break it up or do other things or teach classes and so on. So you have a lot of options. With traditional publishing, just know this: nothing's free. You pay back your advance, but you do get one. So you do get paid. And again, just so you know, when it comes to money, you're looking at about $1,000 to $3,000 for a traditional subsidiary company, traditional publishing subsidiary company to buy your manuscript. $1,000 to $3,000. You have to give over those copyrights, those rights to that publisher. They pay you, but they also own the book. So they can do what they want to with it. And that's not saying that they will. And sometimes they do ask for your input, but ultimately they're going to do whatever mainstream thing they need to do to it in order to make it sell more broadly. The royal treatment, getting flown to book signings, paying for hotels and doing all this kind of stuff, that is reserved for only a very few, probably like 4 books a year get chosen that are very, very marketable, that are very, very out there to uh, to to be a part of these like major big 5 kind of publishing um, things where you get flown around to different places. And even then, you still have to market on your own. Anyway, they're gonna market it as long as it's selling, and this is highly, highly competitive. You got 2 million books a year that get published. There's only 4 that maybe get uh, whisked around the world, right? And so you just got to keep that in mind. So we just want to back off of it and go, okay, what's the bigger picture? Why am I doing this book? And the answer to that should be because it's in my heart to do it and I want to do it. And it feels good and I love writing and I love making a difference. And then you get that book out there to as many people as you can, as many hands as you can, and create buzz. It's generally a really grassroots situation. But when we look at traditional publishing, they're going to do a lot of that stuff for you, um, as long as it's selling. Again, you market, and then it's a small royalty. Again, it's $1 a book, $1.50 a book. And the takeaway from that piece is that yes, it's a smaller royalty, but it is a bigger list. So it's a handoff, you know, that kind of thing. All right. So how much should self-publishing your book cost with the services company? This is a great question, and I think people uh, this is where people getting upsold becomes a bit of a problem. All inclusive launch to bestseller with all the bells and whistles. So this is like everything: copy editing, launch, and I mean launch to bestseller on Amazon. Um, you know, getting the book out there, doing press releases, that kind of thing, letting people know about your book, putting it out there, marketing it for you. Um, and it is a pristine book. The copy is great. The cover is amazing. The interior formatting is on point. It looks fantastic. Okay. It shouldn't cost you more than $7,000 US. I have a lot of Canadian authors, so I like to add it in the US. It should not cost more than that. And I mean, that is somebody that is personally hand holding you through the process, that is talking to you, that is communicating with you, that is supporting you every step of the way. So this is something to really look out for because this is where those upselling situations come into play. So what to watch out for with pricing. So be sure to have awareness of hidden fees. And people say, oh, no, there's no hidden fees. But and if they say that, then there should not be any hidden fees. I would still read the contract and just double check. The fees that are not hidden in plain sight are those percentage fees that you shouldn't have to pay. You shouldn't be paying those. You should be getting 60%, after the print and after all that stuff is done with something like KDP. Ingram Spark has got a much higher rate. They take out way more. I don't even know if it's 50-50 with them. But they tend to be higher print costs. I do not know why. And so those are things to take into count when you're figuring this out for yourself. But yeah, you should make the lion's share of your royalties for your book. High percentage rates, as I mentioned. So again, that can be hiding in plain sight. And if you don't know, because a lot of people don't, it seems like it's a good thing, but ultimately ends up being like $1.50 a book. And that's not okay when you work with KDP and you work with a publishing services company where we just get it. This is what we do at As You Wish. We upload your manuscript and document and book cover and everything to Kindle Direct Publishing, which is associated with Amazon. What we do is we have you set up your account information on the back end. That money gets directly paid to you through the royalties. We do not want to mess with that. I do not want to cut a check. I don't want to make money off of you. I just don't want to do it. I think it's a lot of work, honestly. And so that's why one of the reasons why they, have such high fees is because we know for the rest of our lives we'll be paying a check to you. I don't want to do that. I want you to have control. I want you to understand how to work KDP. I want you to know that if you want to leave As You Wish Publishing, that you can easily break away and do other things. And because I want to give you freedom, we were authors first. We understand how it feels to not have this freedom. Okay. It's not easy to reclaim, just like I was saying before. It can be hard for you to get, if you don't have access to your accounts and you only have access to an account through a back office on a website that belongs to that publisher, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have control over your book in those back office situations with KDP or Amazon or Ingram Spark or whatever it might be. And so therefore it's harder to order books. It can be more costly to order books and that kind of thing. And then also, what if you change your mind and you want to go with a different publisher? Then you have to fill out forms and do all kinds of stuff. So it can be just kind of hairy. And so we make it so that you don't have to do that. In essence, and this would be with anything, if you were to do a redo of your book, or a new edition or updated version, or you could even do new books. The only thing you could do, and this would be with anything, is you would do a new edition and have a new ISBN number, and that's it. There's no forms to fill out. There's no asking our permission. The book belongs to you, even though it's copywritten under a publishing brand. All right, pie in the sky marketing. This stuff, please, please, please. Oh, this one gets me. They say, we'll get you a website. We'll get you this. Let me tell you about websites. It costs a ton of money to become searchable on something like Google. So don't fall prey to that. Just because somebody gives you a website doesn't mean that there's going to be any traffic driven to that website. So it takes money, it takes time, it takes energy, and it may not look and feel the way that you want it to look and feel. So when you look at that as an upsell, it may not actually be a great thing. Also doing things like we'll enter you in a competition. Well, many writing competitions are not worth their salt either. They're profiteering off of people, buying into, $60 or $100, and you'll be a part of this competition, and you can win the prize. And it's like, no, they're just profiteering. So not to say I might not do that in the future with some of our other books, but it's just a little bit of a marketing ploy. And you could lose that investment because they may not choose your book. And so that's something to keep in mind as well. Again, no ROI on some of these things. So please, please, please read the fine print. Take a moment, go through all of those contracts and read everything. All right, Sun, Moon, and Stars, self-publishing services companies that sell you on the dream of publishing. This one is so important. I'm saving it for last here. Oh, if I could, I would definitely be your personal publisher shopper. And hopefully this is taking that place of that. Don't let your dreams be exploited. And that's what a number of Vanity Presses do. Traditional publishers are different because if they're picking your book, they're paying you and they have the assumption, they're working under the assumption and the marketing input to know that it's a good investment for them. Again, nothing's free. You pay back that advance. You pay back that $1,000 to $3,000 with your royalties. So they don't start paying you back your royalties until after that advance is paid back. So just keep that in mind. You know, you're still paying for it somehow. It's just, how are you paying for it? Are you paying for it and having complete control and then, you know, getting 100% of the royalties, or are you getting an advance and then paying that advance back through the royalties you get from your book? Either way, um, and you're in a highly competitive situation. So you have to decide on that. But when it comes to Vanity Presses, that's a whole other ball game. They are exploiting your dream. They are intending to just publish whatever and, you know, get you to pay as much as possible. And I wish it was different. I do, but it's not, unfortunately. And people get sucked into this world, and it's because they have a dream and they want to achieve their goal of publishing. So the first thing to do in every situation when it comes to where do I go for this, get grounded, get centered, and get real about your book project. So take a look at your book and whatever condition that it's in. You could have a few chapters, you could whatever, and you're just kind of, I'm looking around, I'm trying to figure this out. When you get centered around it and you go, okay, well, how do I want this to enhance my life and the lives of other people? How do I want to make a difference with my book? So just think about those things and think about, how do you want to make money from your book? Books in general are not huge money makers. So if you spend tens of thousands of dollars on a book, no, you will probably not get that investment back. And the reason why is because um, even if you're getting promised the sun, moon, and stars, it's not necessarily going to make a difference, because you're the one that is the engine. You're the engine that makes the whole thing run. And so if you make a lot of money from it, which is possible, you know, I've had authors make, you know, more than 10,000, close to $15,000 off of first run of their book. I've had authors do other things, you know, smaller things, smaller scale things, and then just kind of as they go along, continue to sell and that kind of thing and make good money. But it doesn't replace their income. So it's important for you to take a moment and really decide, how do you want you and your book to show up in this world? Ask a lot of questions of Vanity Presses, of self-publishing services company, and traditional publishers. It's the most important thing that you can do. Don't worry about being a bother. Just ask the questions that you have to ask. Now, for us, we do discovery sessions, and they're only 15 minutes long because we're really vetting, you know, those people who are serious and who really want to get their book out there and to understand the scope of what it really looks like. So when you when you do a discovery session with us, we definitely give you time to ask those questions. But ultimately, we're in that process of deciding, is this a good fit? Are we a good fit for you? And so I would definitely recommend that when you ask these questions, think of the things that were in this video. Ask about those percentage rates. Ask about how you get paid out. Ask about print costs. Ask about how easy it is to get wholesale books, and how much those wholesale books should cost. Honestly, they shouldn't be more than $5 a copy. Really, even if you have a big book, and this would be a black and white book. If you have a full colored book with a bunch of pages, more than 200 or 300, that book is going to be super expensive. Okay, so know how this all works. But if it's a black and white copy, you are looking at probably at max, even over the really big book, $5 a book. All right. Don't assume that because a Vanity Press picked, in quotes, picked your manuscript, that they are traditional publishers. They didn't pick your manuscript. They're going to pick any manuscript. Okay? If it's a Vanity, they're going to pick any manuscript. They might make you feel like you are special and you're unique and this is amazing and you're phenomenal. And that's not untrue, but it's not necessarily a traditional publisher. All right, so unless extensive market research is done for your book and it's watered down specifically for the mainstream world, your book will go as far as you are willing to take it. That means traditional, vanity, or a self-publishing services company. So as you're developing your knowledge around this, that's something to keep in mind. You are the engine that makes your book run. Ultimately, publishing your book is easy. It really is, but that shouldn't mean costly. So it shouldn't mean that you are sacrificing anything. Now, even though traditionally we're looking at higher percentages for things like traditional publishing, and that's, I think, one of those things that make Vanity Presses seem legit, is that they actually charge more in those fees. And it seems like they're similar to that traditional publisher, but they're not. Okay. All right. So, I bet this is the part where she sells us on something. And my answer is yep. So, one of the things to take into consideration is that I'm going to go ahead and make this really quick, so don't run away. All right, we have an easy publishing package that provides you with quality self-publishing services to create your book. I mentioned a few of these things during our time in this video. We have eliminated a few costly items to make the book publishing accessible for everyone, because we want to make sure that you have everything that you need to get going and get your book done. So the things that are included with our package is the interior formatting, the book cover design, copyright and ISBN, uploading to KDP your print as well as your Kindle version. Lowest print cost, 100% royalties paid directly to your account from KDP. And there's a lot more that goes along with it as well. But those are the main things. Here's what's not included, so you're very clear on this. And every single company that you use should be as transparent as we are. If they're not, then I would ask a bunch more questions before spending thousands of dollars. Okay, what's not included, and we don't upsell you on this, we don't do copy editing, we don't do book launch or marketing, and this package is for email support only. Okay, so these things we found as we've kind of gone along is things that people can get copy editing for a lower rate other places. They feel really comfortable and confident with that. And the book launch and marketing piece, many times they have their own system that they want to use. And so we found that that wasn't as important, but yet it was still incredibly expensive for us to do for them. And so I was like, well, let's just cut it out then. You know, we can cut out several thousands of dollars by eliminating copy editing, book launch, and then just going to email support. So we also have a writer's resource area on our website that you can use anytime you want, even if you don't buy a package with us. And these are some of the services that we trust. So you get everything you need, and it's only $1,444. So that includes that formatting, uploading, everything. It's actually an incredible deal. And I think that as you shop around, you'll find that as well. But just remember that we're looking at this as a total, not as a, well, now I'm going to make you buy this and this and this. Instead, we're saying, nope, we're not going to do that. We want you to go and find those more cost-effective things that will help you get to where you need to be. And so even with this, and if you're looking at, you know, a 200-page book and, you know, you need to get the copy editing and maybe some of the marketing, I mean, that might increase it to another $500 or so, just kind of on your own, doing some of your own research and doing some book launching things on your own. I have free videos in different places. I have one on YouTube, specifically to help you with getting your book to bestseller on Amazon for free. So that's also an option for you as well. So we want to give you everything that you need, and give you at least an idea of where you can go if you do need some of those things that we don't offer. All right, here's the final word. Of course, this won't be my final word, as long as publishers are acting this way. So listen, first off, do not be a vanity press victim. I've met too many of them. Remember, I told somebody everything they needed to know. They still went and did it anyway. And it just breaks my heart. So even those who look credible or who connect with other credible sources may not have your highest and best interest in mind. They have their bottom line in mind. And in some cases, some traditional publishers are similar in that way because they're looking at how marketable is this book. So instead, we want to just take a step back and go, okay, let's just make sure this is the right thing, for us, and then move forward if it feels right. But if it's not, don't do it. Take your time, look at a bunch of different options. Please read everything, know what you're buying initially. Know that everything is included initially. I could tell you horror stories, like I said before, but I've gone into different situations where in different publishing companies, and I will go through the kind of maze of trying to figure out what the price is. And what I found is they start out at a low price and then they upsell, or they do kind of big packages, and there's really not everything you need, even in the highest price package. That's frustrating. And then there's other ones that do like a monthly takeout, and it's like $1,000 a month for 10 months or 12 months. And I'm like, that's a $10,000 book, $10,000 to $12,000 book. No, there's no reason for that. Okay. You, as a matter of fact, if you wanted to, you could do your own publishing and publish your own book for basically nothing. You would still need things like copy editing and formatting and things like that. But ultimately, you could do that, or you can learn how to do it. So no, $10,000 is not acceptable. You deserve to be treated well. You really do. Your book deserves respect. You deserve to be treated well. Those are some of the last things I'm going to say about that. So let's talk about what we covered. What's a vanity press and how to know if your publishing company is a vanity press. They can charge $10,000 and up. They have hidden upsells, and they give you tiny royalties. Discerning the difference between a self-publishing services company and traditional publisher. You are a self-publishing author if you pay 1 cent to that publisher. So just keep that in mind. If they say, well, yeah, we'll publish your book for free, but you have to buy 2,500 copies. And yes, that is out there. And the 2,500 copies come with a $2 fee per book. Yes, that is out there. I'm going to say that again. If you pay a penny for anything, you are a self-published author. Now, some traditional publishers, they will get you to buy your wholesale books, because, that to me is not a self-publishing services company. They do have you buy your own books sometimes so that you can have them, but they should have a pretty low wholesale cost to those books. Okay. All right. How much should self-publishing your book cost with a services company? No more than $7,000 with all the bells and whistles. I mean, they are going to love on you. You get 100% royalty and a low print cost, no more than $5 per book. And that would be for a really big book, 6x9, more than 300 or 400 pages. And that would be black and white. All right. Sun, Moon, Star, self-publishing services company that sell you on the dream of publishing. Don't buy the hype. Your book is competing with 2 million books per year. So don't let them talk you into this book being anything more than what you make it. And if they're trying to upsell you and they're trying to get you to buy things, they're trying to sell you on your dream. And they're trying to exploit it, to be perfectly frank. And instead just go, okay, how do I want my book and myself to show up in this world? And can I make back my investment? That's a good thing to look at. I know for our cost and for our fees, for our investment, people easily make back 14, 44 and more, because really you're paying for a service, you're paying for a product to be created, and then that creates a residual income stream for you, and so you can have that book going for years to come. But my thing is, you write one book, you write that one for yourself. Most of the time, most of us do. You get it out of the way, you feel what it feels like. Okay, I did it, I got it done, and then you move on to your next book. The first time we did this, we did our first book, and then it took me a year to publish it. And then the next year, we did 10 books. And the next year, I don't know, done, I don't know, I think we've done like a total of 20 books at this point, maybe more than that. But it took us some time to just get over that first hurdle. But you can get over that first hurdle, but don't spend a bunch of money doing it. Let yourself off the hook, and take your time, because sometimes when these vanity press get their hooks into you, then you believe you have to stick with them. You have to stay with them, and you don't. You get to move and do different things with different people, and you get to spend less money if you want to, which most people do, and make a really big difference, not only in your pocketbook, but in your mental welfare, you know, because it really does make a difference, and so much more. After your first book, you're going to know so much more than you ever knew before. And I hope that this video has helped. Please always work with a SPS, a self-publishing services company, who puts authors first, because that's what we are. That's what As You Wish Publishing is. Because we were authors first, we were people who just wanted to help make a difference with our words, help make a difference with the words of other people, help give people confidence and courage to step out there and just try it. That's why we did a lot of collaborative books, why we still do them. Because we know sometimes people just don't want to write a full book, but they do want to be a part of something bigger than themselves in many ways, and to contribute and to make a difference. So you can make a difference with your words now as well. So please, please know that we would love to work with you. You can go and check us out at asyouwishpublishing.com. Check out the Easy Publish package. Make sure it's the right thing for you. Everybody has their own journey. Everybody has their own awareness. And hopefully this education will help you to make really great choices in the future. Awesome. This has been What to Look Out For in Publishing. This is the publishing company warning signs from your friends at As You Wish Publishing. I'm Kyra Schaefer, and I will see you again in future videos.